Hello guys, and welcome to the MUN Base. The best name ever. Yes, I took ages trying to think of a name for this base. Apparently, we're going to build a base on the south pole of the MUN. Okay, not the south pole, but one in the craters on the south region of the MUN. Just because, well, why not? It's nice and hilly over there. It's a complex challenge, and I designed this base especially for this purpose, I think. We'll find out how good it is anyway. Anyway, the first part we're going to be setting up is the core part of the base, and I can't remember, we've got a Kerbal on this mission. Ah yes, Poisonous Carnage Kerman. Yes, if you want your Kerbal added to this series, then just pop the name in the text below, what do you call it? The comment box below. Anyway, getting into orbit now, and then we're going to be quickly setting a course to the MUN. Now, if you want to go and land on the north or the south pole of the MUN, you have to, well, the easiest way, I suppose, you don't have to. The easiest way is to get into over the top of the MUN, or underneath the MUN, I suppose, on your approach when you do your burn towards the MUN. If you want a bit more detail about that, let me know. Perhaps I'll do a bit more in this video, or perhaps in future videos, because yeah, I asked before, what do people want as tutorials? Someone asked me to do slingshot tutorials or gravity assists where you can use gravity to brake or speed up your craft in the orbit so you can go to perhaps another moon or another planet. I'll go a bit more in depth into that. It's just going to take a bit longer to work out, especially to explain orbital mechanics to everybody. But that aside, let's go and do a MUN base here. I've aimed for one of the craters near the south pole, and yes, you probably all can see a problem here. It's not in the sun most of the time, so you'd think I'd use RTGs. No, I'm not that sensible. Although I will bring some fuel cells along, so that when we're mining ore off the MUN, and we'll turn it into fuel or something that we can use with the fuel cell to turn it into electricity energy, because mining takes a lot of power, I suppose. I'm not entirely sure, I can't remember, but I think it does take quite a bit of electricity, even just converting that ore to fuel. So yeah, anyhow, the trick to making a base is to, well, pinpoint landing. That's all it is. Basically, constructing the base, joining it all together, that's a bit more tricky. I've had to sort of like work around it, and I'll show you how, and that's where the radial attachments come in handy now. Okay, so let's burn off this fuel. This slow ourselves down. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use this large rocket to land because we've got a smaller rocket by here. I'm just angling to the flatter surface of this crater. Nicely done. Now, all we have to do is go straight down. A quick, lovely cinematic shot of the separation and this extending of the landing legs. And then, well, let's go down and hopefully we not crash. No crash here. Please, no crash. Okay, so I've probably given it away here. I decide, right, we're at 60 meters per second. Let's do a fast forward. Our thrust to weight ratio is 2.5. Mark, shouldn't you start burning now? Yeah, I think we should. Now, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. There you go. I don't think we're going to slow down in time. No, lovely scene of the mountains there. But bloody hell, Poisonous Carnage survived. I think we can call that a mission success, don't you, Poisonous Carnage? Okay, dear. I think he's got a bad twitch there from some kind of accident. Let's go send him another base. Keep him happy. This time, I think we'll let MechJib do the landing. Yeah, it's a bit more safer. Okay, some cinematic shots of the base coming down with MechJib. Obviously, it's a lot slower if you're going to use MechJib for landing, but if you're going to build a base and you can't do pinpoint landing, this is the choice for you. Obviously, this is the center of the base, so we don't need to land everything close to the base. And all the other modules are going to be wheeled modules which can connect to the sides, which means this base should be mobile, and I'll show you how soon. Okay, let's quickly get Poisonous Carnage away from there. I think he's a bit upset with me at the moment. I have no idea what's caused these graphical twitches and all that. I'm not sure because we're on the South Pole of the Man. It could be Scatter mod because I've recently updated some of the mods. And I've had bad experience with updated mods, mainly because they make the game crash. And I don't like that. Obviously don't like that. Or I suppose that's the danger of modding your game. So be careful when you're updating your mods or installing any mods. I normally install one mod at a time or even update one mod at a time. That way you make sure that if it crashes, you know, oh, it's that, so I need to backdate it or just get rid of it and use something else. Anyway, Poisonous Carnage is in his base. Let's send another module up. This time it's going to be, oh, what did I send up now? I forgot. Oh yes, it's the Habitat module. You can see it, the MUN Base Hab there in the name. And you may also notice that I forgot to put mech jeb units on you. So I'm doing a manual ascent for a change. Yes, you can see how my manual ascents go. They're not the most efficient, but they're not too bad. They're not too far off the mark, as you probably find on my video reducing the Kerbal's footprint. Basically, I done some tests using mech jeb because it'll do the same thing every time. Getting into orbit, doing different angles and different thrust ratios, and also testing large, small and medium rockets. So yeah, if you want to check that out, check it out. It's just a bit of experimenting that I decided to do. Anyway, here we are. This is basically a rover. It's going to attach to the side of the base to become part of the base. And you can see you've got radial attachments there with rockets to land it down. And some kind of weird front docking port that you've never seen before. All made from stock parts. And I'll get to that when we bloody dock the thing. But first off, let's get over there. Let's create a maneuver node and I'll show you how to get over to the map. First off, create your maneuver node close to where you actually need it. Then when you get close to the intercept of the man, use the triangle, which is the up radial. No, it's not radial, it's normal. Then move the maneuver node around until you actually get the intercept of the man. Then focus in on the man and now do your fine adjustments. Do the thrust forward, up, down, left, and use radial to go sideways. You can see by here, which will get us over the north side of the man. And that will get us into polar orbit like we've got with the probe of the space station. The hardest part is if you want to get into a polar orbit and you want to build a space station, because then you have to rendezvous with that space station at the right time. So yeah, I've covered that before. I'm not going to cover it here. So let's go ahead, burn this, get our way over to the man. And I think I burnt a little bit late, so don't worry if you do burn a little bit late. Just burn as close as you can to maneuver node. Then, on your track towards the man, create a maneuver node as such, and then do a radial burn, as you can see by here, because we're only out slightly, until we get the polar orbit that we require. And that's easy as it is. Just make sure you pack just a little bit extra fuel for those course corrections. And by the way, if I sound funny, that is because I have a little ulcer on my tongue. And it's rubbing against my teeth when I'm talking, so I'm trying to make sure it doesn't rub against my teeth, which makes my teeth and everything else sound dumb and not normal. So yes, I apologise for that, but it can't be helped. It's otherwise that, or it's just a music video. And I'm getting a bit not fed up with music videos, I just can't find the right music to do music videos that don't get me into trouble. Like this music. Shall I use this music or not? I think I will use this music, as we are coming in now for landing. Okay, so I had the problem of how am I going to land this, because as soon as I stage the main rocket, I'm not going to be able to control it because there's nothing on the top. So I put two little core probes on the side on the radial rocket, so I can take control of one of them. That's why I've got it pinned up on the side there, so I can use control from here. But here's the problem. I forgot to add a decoupler between the large rocket and the rover. So that means I can't separate it. And who have we got? We've got Finlay, another Kerbal who asked to be a Kerbal, another human who has to be a Kerbal. Is that right? Unless he is a Kerbal. I don't know. I'm not prejudiced, so it doesn't matter if you're a Kerbal, you can be whatever you want. You can even be a Kerbal on this show. Just write Kerbal on your comment if you do. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use the large rocket to land this, which is a shame. Basically, I was gonna, land this and then get this rover over to the main base and then dock it onto the side and show you the awesome, innovative tools that I've used just using stock parts. I don't think everything's stock parts at the moment. What am I using on this? No, it's just MechJeb. The only thing not on this rocket by here, on the main base, is MechJeb, and that's because I find that handy. Okay, we're coming in close. I'm boosting, because the large rockets has a very high thrust to weight ratio. It's just a very slight thrust to keep us at a low speed, so we're not going to crash. It does mean that you have to feather the throttle and be very gentle with it. Although if you have that problem, you can reduce the thrust of your rocket by right clicking on it, and damn it, we've landed upside down. This is not where I wanted. So what you do by here, if you're going downhill, is try to roll on the sides going downhill, and damn it, that was not meant to happen. Luckily, Finlay is still alive and the base rover has not died. But eventually we do get it over. Eventually. It took a little bit of time, actually. Don't forget, I'm an expert at this because, well, mainly because my bases have been rolling down hills for quite a few times. Yes, I'm ashamed of it. Okay, so there's no docking port here. So we're going to have to send the tools using Kerbal Inventory System mod and Kerbal Attachment System mods. If you got those two mods, you can send this little probe here with the spanners and drill. I can't remember the name of the tools. Anyway, basically they're spanners. You can give them sort of like a drill or something. It doesn't matter which tool you use, they do the exact same job. You can either attach parts to the rocket, as you can see by here. Get Finlay Kerman over to detach rocket. Nice landing, Finlay. Anyway, what you do by here is you equip the tool, right click, hold down Alt. No, was it X? I can't remember. Yeah, you hold down X and then click on the part, I think. Just read the instructions. Why? What's going on with the physics of the game? Everything is rolling down hills, and this is not the only time. Anyway, let's get this base over to the... Well, let's get this rover over to the base, attach it, and I can show you. The cool thing is, from this point on, nothing goes wrong. Yeah, except this. The rover starts sinking to the moon, and it explodes. Okay, yeah. Thanks, KSP Physics. Can you do something right for once? Now, this might seem annoying to you, and this happens to you. Balls, why did this happen? You should do quick saves. Guess what? I did do quick saves. So a quick load later, as all the rover parts fly by, I decided, let's see Finlay survive. If he survives, then I'll quick load and carry on. If he didn't survive, then he'll be dead Kerbal, because he's more interested. Okay, so this is how the docking port works. I've got a claw on the front of that, and then I'm using one of those nose cone covers, the fairings, stock by the way, just to cover it. And then what you want to do is have the claw just extend just enough so it looks like that it's fully attached to the base. Anyway, let's launch up another one, and this time we have the power rover. Okay, with this one, as I said, I got fuel cells on it. We've got a full fuel tank on there that we can use to generate power before we start mining or anything like that. We've got solar panels on here for when the sun actually shines over here. As you can see, the entire base is in shadow. This was not a well thought out spot, was it? Okay, so it's not our best place for a base. However, I always like to look on the bright side, and the bright side is I added a staging part to this rover. That means that we can use the radial engines to actually land this. Now, I wasn't sure if this had totally worked. I didn't test it. Normally what I would do is I'd build something, test it, make sure it works, This time I decided against it. I just add all the parts to it, the radial engines, which make sure the thrust to weight ratio is center on the center of mass. And hey presto, everything should work. Please land properly. Yes! And again, we're sliding down the hills. Okay, so I'm not good at picking landing spots. But hey, it's not far off from the base. And if you have rover wheels, then at least you can drive up to it. How far is it? It's not too far. It's about 1 kilometer away. Okay, let's quickly attach this thing. Try to line it up. As you can see, we've got enough space to attach one to each side. But the reason why I put it on the other side, now if I bring up the gear, it holds the base up. It acts like a train. We can move the base about. How awesome is that? I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, let's get the Kerbals on some EVA. And if you want a fun mod to use the Kerbal follow mod. It is cool because it gets your Kerbals to follow each other, and they do weird things like this. Now, follow me! They try to clamber over each other. It's funny. Now watch this. I decide to get my jetpack on. Follow me. Oh, they can't. They want to follow, but they can't. Anyway, I'm more beta. Trust me, I'm an engineer of MUN bases. And what do you think? Should we carry on with this base or not? Let me know in the comments below.